There's a couple of verses in the Bible that I want to try to tie together today. One is in Matthew 6:6, where it says, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door, pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." Another one comes from 2 Corinthians 3:18, where it says, "And we all, with unveiled faces, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed from one degree of glory to another." So these two verses, I think, they complement each other well. I think too often our prayer lives can consist of basically just, hey, I'll say a quick prayer in the morning, I'll say a prayer in the evening, or maybe throughout the day I'll throw a few prayers up at God. But Jesus is encouraging us to go into the quiet place, go into some translations call it the prayer closet. Go into your room and pray in private with the sincerity of your heart. And a lot of times I think many people consider prayer as something where we're talking at God, right? And if in any sort of relationship, you might imagine that if there were two people and one of them was doing 95% of the talking, very rarely listening, then the relationship likely wouldn't be as strong. Maybe it wouldn't even last if it was between humans. We approach God in often the same way, where we think we want to talk to Him 95% of the time and maybe listen 5. So if we can train our hearts and our minds with the help of God to hear and to be willing to listen more often and more carefully and more closely in prayer, I think our prayer life and everything else around will benefit. And regarding the second verse in Corinthians, it says, "We with unveiled faces, beholding the glory of the Lord, are being transformed into the same image from one degree of glory to another." And I think it's profound if we contemplate on this, because literally in this quiet place of prayer, when we go to this prayer closet or this quiet room that we've designated just for the purpose of prayer, we can sit with the Lord of all creation, the creator of heaven and earth, the source of all love, of all kindness, of all wisdom, of all insight, the source of everything good in the world. We can literally sit there in His presence. And of course it takes practice because we're so distracted often. We have all the social media, the Instagrams, the Facebook, the WhatsApp, the dings, the emails, everything else that can distract us in this modern world. But the fact remains, we have access to God's presence moment to moment, day to day. And when we go to this quiet place, we can sit there in His presence. Do you need more love in your life? Do you need more wisdom? Do you need more insight? Do you need any of the fruits of the Spirit? You can literally sit and bask in the presence of the Lord. It takes practice because the mind wants to take us to 10,000 different places. But if we can train our heart and our mind to continually return back into His presence again and again, there will come a time where prayer is not a chore or something we have to do, but it's something that we get to do. We get to invest and spend time in the presence of the Lord of all creation. And this beholding the glory of the Lord, as I might call it, is literally the thing that transforms us. It is the thing that transforms us into His image more fully. All the other stuff starts to fall away. The fire of the Spirit begins to burn within inside us and burn up all the dross and all the impurities and the gluttony and the lust. All of it starts to burn up as we are transformed into this image, from one degree of glory to greater degrees, deeper degrees of God's glory. It's a beautiful and amazing thing to be able to sit in His presence and bask in His glory. And again, it will transform your prayer life over time with God's help to a thing that you have to do, or you feel compelled to do, but rather something that you desire to do. You want to spend time in His presence. It's not just for 10 minutes, not just for 15 minutes, but you want to sit there and continually live in the presence of His wisdom, His love, His kindness, all of this. So anyhow, just a word of encouragement. I want to encourage you to find a place where you can set aside that is your quiet place for prayer, whether it's inside of a closet, whether it's inside of a room that you don't use for other purposes, or whether it's somewhere outside that you have to go. Find and dedicate a place to this quiet place, and with God's help, pray that He guide your steps to live and more fully experience His presence. And with God's help, this light will begin to shine through you to the rest of the world. That's why Jesus says, you are the light of the world. And so a city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. And with God's help, you are that city, and you will be that city as you begin to sit in God's presence more fully and become more and more transformed into His image. God be with you, my friends.